Hey everybody, hi, it is Dr. Craig, your man in town and country, and today I'm talking about these bad boys, steam radiators. We've got a beautiful turn-of-the-century house, and it is filled with steam radiators which are obsolete. So if you have them in your house and you don't have a mechanical engineer maintaining them regularly, then you may end up having these sorts of issues. So I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. It is kind of a month or two into the deep winter, and I've got a lot of hissing coming out from the valves. Now to start with, this valve here is a bullet valve, okay, and this is meant to hiss. What happens is the steam comes in, and in the case of steam radiators, you only need to have one in. So it basically comes in here, and in this case goes out here because this is the bottom floor radiator. So it's actually, it wants to get the steam around the bottom floor as quickly as possible so it can get up to the next floor. But in actual fact, it only needs to have one input. So it comes in, if this was shut, it would fill up the radiator, push air out of this valve. This valve hisses as the air gets pushed out, and as the steam comes up here and fills up this whole thing, it collapses, the steam collapses, lets out heat of entropy, which is why these radiators can get so hot, and then the water flows back at this 3-degree angle back into the system and then back to the condensation tank and gets heated up, turned into steam, and repeats the process. Okay, but what we're looking at here is as steam actually comes in, what I'm noticing is that this junction here, and I'll get a close up on it, this nut here, this is actually the packing gland. Okay, so this is it holds material in there that when this is clamped down stops the gap between the stem. This is usually a valve. In this case, as I undid this valve, the original valve handle cracked and fell apart because this is 110 years old, it's made of wood. Now I maintain them a bit, I kind of stuck them back together and painted them, made them look tidy. I don't use them that often, but in this case I think this is the end of the life of that one. I have got some spares and I've got some plastic replacements to try and keep it original just because it looks pretty. But so that one will be the replacement. I've picked that up from a different radiator. Okay, now what I use for packing. Now in the stores you'll probably find something that looks like this, and it says graphite packing, and that is indeed graphite packing. I'm not sure that it's for a steam system though. Maybe for some sort of temperature system. I don't know if it goes as high as a steam system. So anyway, what I found is that this stuff didn't really work. So what I did is I just bought some regular twine, which is the, in England we call it hessian. Burlap, I think, is kind of what you call it here. But it's like the natural fibre. So I don't know if we can get a much of a close-up on that. So the kind of natural fibre string now. Let's get my face out of the way, see if it will. Okay, so it's the natural fibre string. So normally it doesn't look black, normally it looks brown. But what I then did is I got a tin of graphite spray, put it on newspaper, sprayed it, flipped it over, sprayed it 3 or 4 times so you get plenty of graphite in there. And what I do is I wrap this around the stem. So actually I think I'm doing it here. I've done it already. You want to do this nut, I just use this screwdriver to scrape around the inside of the packing nut, and that gets the debris out. That's what this debris is. This is old packing from, it's probably 120 years old, it's probably never been changed. I wrapped the string around here, clamped down, snipped it off. In fact, I didn't clamp down hard, but just let this nut come down, snipped it off, screwed that down. When I switch the radiator system back on, when I switch the heating system back on, the steam comes back through. I'm going to check these nuts. I'm going to wind down them perhaps half a turn. That's going to stop the hissing there. Now, that stops the hissing leaking from the radiator system, the steam system out. The bullet valve, for those of you that know it, this is going to hiss anyway. It's meant to. It's meant to hiss as the air escapes, but then it shuts off. And then it should shut off once the radiator is full, so it shouldn't continually hiss. If it's continually hissing, then it means this isn't shutting off properly. Okay, now the other thing that I have repaired before and is a little trickier is this bottom nut here. This bottom nut is part of that system there, which is basically you have a valve at the bottom that clamps down and stops the steam coming up. So I repaired a couple of mine. They can be tricky to get off though. So unless, you know, you've got access to an engineer, you might want to be a little more careful with that. But basically what you can do is you can wind that off. And then I must admit, it was a couple of years ago I last opened my radiators to change those valves. I got some sort of high temperature rubber washer that I put in there. In there is actually, I believe it's lead or it's graphite. It's a graphite ring. So it's like a hard graphite ring because obviously they're very high temperature. Back 110 years ago, the most high temperature material that would deal with that was like a graphite block. That's it. So it's a metal spindle that comes down. It has a metal cup, and inside the cup is a graphite washer, and that washer gets pushed down against the surface. But you can actually get high temperature silicone now. That's right, I've got a bag of them. I just found them downstairs. I was wondering what those bag of big washers were. So you can buy high temperature silicone washers, and I think I put 2 or 3 together, clamp them in there instead of the big graphite plug, because you can't get the graphite now. You'd have to get that made special, and I'd imagine that would cost an arm and a leg. But you can buy these rubber washers. Obviously, just you need to do the measurements and stuff yourself and get that sorted out and see what you can do to clamp it in. So anyway, I trust that's been of some use. My name's Dr. Craig. I am your man in town and country. I'm a chiropractor in Ottawa. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, just click through. There'll be a link in the description. I've got a separate channel called, well, it's called Dr. Craig Hindson, chiropractor in Ottawa. Funny old thing. Okay, hope that's been of some use. If it is, like it, share around to friends that have steam systems, because I guess there's fewer and fewer of us nowadays. All right, take care. Bye now. Oh, throw some comments on down below as well if you found this of interest. Take care. Bye. Dr. H out.